Hello and welcome to the Tracer Franchising Podcast. On this episode, we talk to Chris Fallon, Marine Corps veteran and new owner of Oxi Fresh Franchise of Scottsdale, Arizona. We'll talk about how he bought this business with no money down, what it's like to take over a turnaround business that's in need of some new leadership, how the military prepared him for owning a business, and how he learns things just on the fly, right? Lots of grit and lots of determination from Chris. If you don't know, I'm Josh Emerson. I'm a franchise broker. I help people find great franchises at no cost to them. If you're interested, visit our website at tracerfranchising.com. We can answer any questions you have, tons of free resources, and hopefully match you to some great franchises. All right, let's get into it. All right. Welcome to the show, Chris. I really appreciate you being here. Ladies and gents, Chris Fallon is a Oxi Fresh franchisee. He's also a Marine Corps veteran, and he's going to be talking to us today, his journey from the military into business ownership and beyond, right? So thanks for being here, Chris.
Appreciate you having me.
For sure. Let's just start with you. Tell us a little bit about your background and kind of how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, sure. See how far back do we want to go? I grew up near Camp Pendleton in a place called Temecula, California. Lived there, never thought I was going to be a Marine. Turned 18, got to 19. I was like, oh, I'm going to go be a Marine now. So it was a machine gun NCO for a logistics battalion there. And it was a good time. We had a blast. So that's when I found MSG, Marine Security Guard program. So I transferred into that, did 3 years, three different places, and that's where I found I thought, calling, and that was going to be in the government. And I loved working in and around with the three-letter agencies and in the intelligence realm of the government overseas. And I thought it was super cool. Started doing my bachelor's, got that finished while I was on the MSG program, got out in August of 23 and came to Florida State University to do my master's in Russian studies and language. Um, Applied to all the government agencies. I got one, and I was waiting on a call from them to move up to DC in the beginning of this year. And everything went good when I was up there for DC for the job hiring process. Um, Up until 2 days after inauguration, when President Trump got in and he froze federal hiring. Got a phone call. And they said, "Hey, your job is no longer available."
Oh,
And I was bummed. I was so bummed. I spent the last 5 years of my life, I thought it was my calling. What the heck is that? And I thought, oh, the government's going to be the most secure route. I was like, so bummed. And then I just thought back at, well, he came in and he shrunk the government and he realigned some things there, but his background and what he's going to be doing for the country is going to be helping the American dream and the small businesses and things like that. So I kind of just took a page from his playbook, read his books, um, walking my dog around, listened to a couple podcasts, and I was like, people are just buying businesses. What if I do that? And I just started calling people on Biz by Sell. Wound up calling 200 people. Found this one guy who was the seller direct, didn't go through a broker. Talked to him. He really enjoyed talking to me and liked my vision for the company. Um, and everything was good until we got to the negotiating table. And he said, "Cool, what are we going to bring?" And I said, "Nothing. I have no money. I'm a Marine Corps vet. I don't have much. Um, don't come from money or anything like that." And so we ended up working out to do 100% seller financed, zero down, which was pretty cool. And I hear that it's kind of rare. And how it worked for me is I was just transparent and upfront with the guy. And granted, it took 200 calls to find the right business. And I was just looking for anything. Found this one, and then that's how I joined the Oxi Fresh franchise. And yeah, now I own the territories in North Phoenix and Scottsdale area.
wow. Well, that's a crazy ride. Okay.
A little
This is
bit, yeah.
not what I was expecting. Well, cool, man. So yeah, very diverse background, right? You said motor T's, which for guys who don't know, it's like the big trucks in the Marine Corps. And then you got good at shooting machine guns and stuff. Lived all over the world, really cool places. You learned to speak Russian. And then Now you're a business owner. Okay, so cool background. And then let's go into like the whole 200 calls on Biz by Sell because I hear
Yeah.
people be like, "Oh, yeah, I tried Biz by Sell and like it didn't work." So what was your thought process? You're
Yeah.
195 calls in. There's no way you're gonna know if you needed five more or 195 more. It's like just take us through how what did that look like? What were you doing day to day to make that happen?
Yeah, so I got the call about job being canked, and initially I was applying to jobs, and I was applying to contracting jobs. Those were also on hold. I was applying to other W-2 management positions, started looking into COO positions, just with my background, not really understanding how they don't really translate, but I was using ChatGPT to make my resume completely translate. And so I was applying to these jobs during the day, W-2 jobs. And then I was going and watching YouTube on these yachts and jets at night and manifesting that. And I was like, there's not a correlation here. It's never going to work out. This is just, I'm dreaming about it. So then I started listening to the podcast, Action Academy, and I heard that, started listening to it, and I heard one interview where this gentleman, I can't remember his name, but he's like, creative financing. Buy somebody's business that's retiring or wants out and then structure your deal that you're going to pay their retirement. So now they're not getting all the funding for their business up front, getting taxed on it. You can kind of trickle it out over a couple of years with however you do the terms. And I heard that, and then a couple other motivation podcasts and some Tony Robbins, and they're like, you're always one call away from making that next deal. Hey, one call closer, however it goes. People that are smarter than me can say it the right way, but I just kept having that mindset and I was applying to all these jobs. I was like, nobody wants to hire me. And I got this background. Why isn't this working? And so I thought, I'm just going to go get my own job. I'm going to create my own job. Um, luckily, unluckily, got some disability that's kind of helping me, live a daily life and have things go um, steady. But it's not where I want to be. And so realizing now I'm single, it's just me and my dog. I'm renting. Um, this is the time to make a risky decision like this. And so after, yeah, all those calls and just kept listening to motivation podcasts in the morning and going for walks, and I was like, I'm gonna find a business. Somebody's gonna sell it to me. And I was actually under contract with a fourplex, 4 unit place that I was going to use the VA loan on, and I was doing my underwriting on the business at the same time. And so I was telling myself, whichever one goes first, that's the route I'm going to go. And I'm glad that we went the business route because it's way more stressful. It's way more risky. I don't know what the next day is going to be, but the ability to 10x and scale is there. However,
Yeah.
with the real estate, it's a lot slower progression.
Yep.
And so that's also why when I was doing on the negotiating table, I said I don't have money because my savings were locked up with the contract for
Yeah.
the real estate. Yeah.
Cool, man. So you just basically like you just grind it. I mean, that's grit, right? Like that's what when people say grit, they're looking for in a business owner, like that's what they're talking about. It's just someone with no business experience said, "I'm going to find a business that I can pay nothing for," and then you just like made it happen, essentially. All right. So were you looking specifically at franchises or just happened to be that this guy owned a franchise who would talk to you?
It just happened to be. And yeah, when I kind of looked at and evaluated all the me not having any experience at all, I was like, this seemed like the safest option,
Mhm.
right? It's a proven track record. They've been in the area for over 15 years. I have the branding. I already have employees. There's already some things that are outlined of how things need to go. Some specified vendors that you need to use. And so though I jumped into the deep end of just buying a business with no experience, the franchise was a much safer option.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. Okay, so you call this guy and you start talking to him. He's been around for 15 years. Um, can you tell us if you're comfortable, what was the top line revenue?
So he only had it for a couple years. It was like one of the original locations for Oxi Fresh. Um, and yeah, in 2011, they were doing maybe, they were close, they're like 800 in 2011. Last year they're closer to 260. So big drop off. Um, And that was a part of my analysis coming into it of like, what were they doing good at when they were at this number, almost seven figures, and where are we lacking now? Um, so I was just able to kind of weigh those and see if I was able to put the pieces of the puzzle together to get back up to where it is. And so only little over 2 months in, but trying, trying to get back up there.
Yeah, yeah. So, what was he? Was this person just not in the business? Like, what do you think? Yeah, because you must have saw something where there's like, I can come in and I can change things, right? It's like, what did you see that this guy wasn't doing that gave you confidence that, I'm going to take over this business that's doing, $250,000, even though it's dropped from 800K.
Um, he had expressed to me that somebody needed to step in and just do spend a little more time on the business, and so I figured I could do that. And when I was talking with him, he was also remote because I'm in Florida and the business is in Phoenix, right? So um, he had mentioned that it might be best if you're out there to deal with some of the networking and getting into the commercial side of carpet cleaning, commercial carpet cleaning. Um, and I saw all those points and I thought, let me come up with a plan and try to do it also remote my way, essentially. And so that's what we're trying out.
So you're still in Florida.
Correct. Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay. So what's the
Yeah.
employee count look like?
Three. Three.
And,
It,
and one of them's like the acting manager, or like how do you have it set up?
yeah, so they were all just cleaners. And one gentleman is a little older, and so he had told me that he wants to stay on. He loves what he's doing. He just can't do it that much because he's older physically. He can't be climbing up the stairs, lugging carpet cleaning equipment. He has a expansive background in management. So I got lucky there. And I said, "Hey, do you want to come and step into this role?" He said, "Great. What are my duties and responsibilities?" I was like, "I don't know. We're gonna figure it out together." And he was on board with it, which was great. Also a little bit of a raise for him. And so since, yeah, these 2.5 months, he's really taken a lot of the day-to-day operational things out from under me. And so doing inventory and telling me when I need to order things, as well as managing, our storage unit where we keep all of our supplies and the vans, oil changes. We had to fix some windshields that had cracks in them. And so he kind of took all that so that I can work on the vision, marketing, etc.
Okay. So how many like is this what you do? Are you doing this basically full time? You're just fully focused on the business?
Pretty much, yeah, I got two grad school classes that I'm kind of finishing out online, but they don't take too much time.
So what kind of take us through like what does your day to day look like?
Yeah, man, I got it the first 2 weeks. Pretty hell. I was working from 7 a.m. to 11 or 12. A couple times I just forgot to eat and just was so just grinding, right? Just trying to figure it out. Because I had sales day one and employees that I was now responsible for, I had to figure my shit out right then and there. And I was just on the phone with vendors and I wanted to keep everything that he had the same to make it as seamless as possible. However, during the transition, I found out a couple of the things weren't ideal. And so, for instance, our payroll vendor, they were still using paper to get the W-4s. And so I had messaged them. They said, "Hey, have your guys fill this out." And I'm like, "I'm in Florida. They're out here. We don't really have a printer situation to scan it, send it all back." I'm like, "It's 2025. Why are we still doing W-4s on paper, hard copy paper? Like, there's nothing else we can do." And then they gave me an impossible deadline. I tried to reach out, they didn't communicate, so I actually had to. That was the first vendor I hired a couple days in, and then
Yeah.
I went on QuickBooks, and everything just snapped and went into place. But the first 2 weeks were rough. Getting everything set up, trying to figure it out. A lot of time on AI, a lot of YouTube videos later, a lot of Alex Hormozy. He's been such a helpful guy. But so yeah, the first 2 weeks were rough, and then I pulled back, and then I kind of traveled around for 4 weeks, working still and figuring out small fires and problems, but really trying to find the holes in where I fit in and how much I can automate with my operations manager and maybe give some other tasks to the other two cleaners. And so I was kind of just figuring out the baseline system. And now that I'm back home, um, I'm reaching out and doing a lot of commercial um, networking, trying to get like LinkedIn, reaching out to people, trying to get us on different vendor lists, and trying to expand the brand that way and our presence in the Phoenix metro area. So long way around the day to day, but it's waking up, making phone calls, sending emails, checking things, seeing that the bank account's still the same because it's too young, it's too new, and then just kind of putting out little fires, managing people, which is the easiest part, I think, and then yeah, trying to grow.
Yeah. Was there like a week or 2 weeks, whatever, of training that the franchise had you go through, like for new franchisees?
They do it if you are brand new. They offered it to me. I did not necessarily opt to take it. It's something that I probably will down the line just to kind of see. We do have a coach system in place. And so there was a gentleman that reached out to me. Him and I had calls every 2 weeks. And he kind of walked me through the CRM, walked me through the deals that they do, how to change things. I was always able to text him and call him and say, hey, what do I do about this issue? What do I do for this? And so he was huge in the beginning to have somebody to reach out to. And so though I didn't do like the training up at headquarters in Denver, I still had somebody to reach out to. And there was a couple other people from franchise that reached out, just kind of like, hey, this is what we do moving forward. If you need me, reach out. So
Got it. Got it. Okay. And then, I probably should have done this at the very beginning. Like, what does Oxi Fresh do? Right? Like, if you could just
yeah,
give us like a quick rundown of the franchise.
yeah, Oxi Fresh carpet cleaning. We do tile, grout, carpet, area rugs, upholstery, a lot of other different services. Yeah, we have we're we claim to be the world's cleanest carpet cleaner. We just do a lot less water usage and don't necessarily use steam. Not everybody. Some people have different systems. But yeah, we just have a little like a push machine in front of you. It's kind of hard to, it's easy if you see it, a picture of it. But yeah, it's just brushes and enzymes and chemicals that go into the carpet. Brushes come over it, suck it all up, and it does the same, if not better, cleaning process with just the chemical breakdown.
Very cool. Okay. So it's a simple business, right? People have dirty floors, regardless of the type, dirty upholstery. You have the ability to clean it, right? Like that's a pretty basic thing. Um, you do residential and commercial, or just commercial?
Yes. Yep, I do both.
Okay. And so, people who pretty basic, like I have a house, I have kids, it's really dirty, right? Like I can vacuum only so much, and then at some point, like a professional needs to come in here and fix this, right?
Correct.
Um, and then commercial, obviously a lot of foot traffic. So what's the split right now, right, between residential and commercial for you?
We are, since I took over, 100% residential,
Hmm.
unfortunately. Trying to make that completely. I mean, if it was completely opposite inverted, that would be great. If it was just commercial, because the margins are better for me. Residential, my technicians have a lot of room for commission, and so it's good for them. However, the commercial is better for me because the margins, cost of goods and all is just it's a completely different ball game over there. And I would like to have it, ideally maybe 50-50, just so that they can still get commission, but over the next few months, I'd like to take a cut from the business.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, okay. So is the business paying for itself, or are you putting in money every month?
Putting in a little. It's kind of because we had sales already, things were in place. However, because we're down so low, the cost of advertising to get us back up to that 900,000 to seven figures number, substantial investment up front. So that's the main investment. It kind of pays for some of the main things, but yeah, we're not completely in the green yet.
Okay.
But
So you're
again, it's only 2 months. It's only been,
yeah,
yeah,
no,
just
I'm
a little
not
over
bashing
60
or anything. I'm trying
days.
to get a picture of
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
of the
It takes
business.
time. It takes time.
Yeah, yeah. So you guys are doing advertising. Can you like what is it door knockers? Is it mailers? Is it online? Like where are you finding customers?
Yeah, primarily Google,
Cool.
um, LSA, PPCs, doing those. That's primary. I hired a cold calling service, so they go out with cold leads. They are cold calling these property managers, maintenance managers, and they're trying to book appointments. And this is on the commercial side. So now I have an appointment booked, and then I go and try to create a partnership. I send out one of my guys who has the most experience, and he's the estimator, and then we try to make a deal for the commercial side there. So that's kind of how I'm attacking it, and also putting us into different vendor databases so that like Chase Bank can use us and Marriott can utilize us, saying that we're disabled service veteran owned, trying to have that be the highlight there. But for residential, it's mainly Google. I'm going to try to implement social media because social media is it's huge. It's apparent. It's what a lot of people are doing in Scottsdale. That whole area is very youthful. A lot of people my age, I guess, um, on social media, and they can find the company and maybe some funny, real, transparent videos on carpet cleaning, and that's how they'll connect, and maybe we can get some organic leads from there.
Yeah. And so this advertising, are you having to go out and find these vendors yourself and make the ads, or does Oxy Fresh give those to you and tell you use this advertiser? How does the franchise help with getting leads?
Franchise has social media and SEO. They they also have a mailer vendor. I believe I'm utilizing them, but they kind of operate on their own and they have access to the CRM, and so I don't really have to be fully into it. They also have an email campaign with constant contact that they do, and you can kind of pick and choose if you want to go with those vendors or not. If you do not, it's a little bit more of a hassle to get all the permissions and usernames and all transferred over. And so I'm noticing with the franchise that some use all the vendors and some do not. And so I'm just being so new, I'm trying to contact as many other franchisees as possible to see what the best plan of attack is here for what vendors to use, which ones not to do. And yeah,
Yeah, still definitely on the learning process, right?
yeah,
Um,
100%.
yeah. Okay. Um, and so what would you say so far, right? 2.5 months in, what's been the biggest challenge?
Making money.
Yeah.
Um, that's been hard. It's I knew it was going to happen. You got to do the investment up front. Um, Other than money, uh, man, I think that's the only one because it's the only unknown. Everything else I'm able to touch and I'm able to reach. So I have no sales background. I was 2 years ago almost, right? I was kicking indoors. I was clearing rooms, training, how to do Marine Corps operations and confined spaces, like completely different to what it is now. No sales background. Um, so I just had to watch YouTube. I had to listen to podcasts. I had to read books or listen to books because I'm a Marine. I can't read. So I just listened to audiobooks and yeah, I had to learn how to do sales because that was hard at first. But now I feel like I'm pretty decent at it, learning how to deal with objections. Um, Understanding spreadsheets, didn't know it, was able to reach out to different groups and figure out what I'm looking at. And so everything that seemed hard and all the different lanes that came up of things that would be difficult and were difficult and scary up front, I knew I was in the deep end and I had to figure it the frick out because that's just what you got to do. I was fully invested. I have to figure it out. And the only thing I can't figure out is when the money's coming in, but trying to line everything else up so that it will eventually.
Yeah. So you get let's say for residential, you get a lead. I mean, you guys go out and get quotes, or people just like placing orders for guys to come and clean their carpets without ever talking to anybody.
So we have an online part of the CRM, and then we have a call center. And so the monthly professional fees to corporate, they go to that call center and other aspects that they run. But yeah, the call center works certain hours to be most available during prime hours, so people can either call in or just go on the website. And if it's a website, they put their area code in. That's how they know which franchisee, which territories it's going to, and then that's how it gets to that specific pricing because franchisees are in control of all their pricing and deals that they want to run. And then if they go online, same thing. They find the zip code and then somebody just walks them through it. And then they get a quote, they book a job and or book a time really, and then it just automatically goes and into the scheduling software for my territory CRM, and my technicians get notified that they have a job tomorrow or whenever it might be. Address, details, all that's in there. And so if you were to go on and book a job online, I would have no work involved with it. You could book it. My guy can go out, and I wouldn't have to do anything to touch it, which is pretty nice. However, if you go and you do not book a job, then I get a notification that we have a quote that's not fulfilled, and then either I will or my operations manager will reach out to them very soon after to try to close them, try to see if we can move some numbers around or provide a new deal or just frame it in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. So you're not like it's not like a lot of these home services, someone's got to go out there and do like a a visit, a sales call, right? But you guys don't do that. It's kind of interesting.
For
Um,
commercial, we do. Like I was saying with the estimator, he'll go out.
sure.
And so I booked a couple appointments for him today for to go
Oh,
to tomorrow. And so he'll go and get a quote and then tell me the numbers, and then I'll try to do the partnership side and hopefully
yeah.
use something.
Well, good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
man.
it.
Okay. So, the biggest challenge is what every business owner would say. I think every new business owner. Like I wish
Yeah,
I could make more money, right? Like everybody says that. So what about
100%.
wins? Have you gotten any wins so far, you'd say over the last 2 months?
It's so new. My head's only been in the grinding stage, to
Mhm.
it's just who I am. If I know somebody's doing better than me, I'm just driving and striving to get to be the best. And so I haven't really reflected too much on the positives. But if we look at the book, The Gap and the Gain, I already bought a business. I got a business for zero down. I got a
Uh-huh.
business for zero down with zero experience. I got screwed out of my government job, dream job that I wanted to have, and I was able to turn it around and completely go into a different profession just head first. Now we'll see how we come out on the other side. That's kind of where we're at now. But the win is, yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing. If you asked me in January, beginning of February, that I would run a business, I would have told you were crazy. If you asked
Yeah.
me what a P&L was, if you asked me what cost of goods sold, any of that, I had no clue. Um, and I am in a networking group where there's a lot of people who are trying to get into the business ownership. Um, and they're taking their time to understand all the aspects of it and analyze a deal, underwriting properly. And they're taking a lot of time to do it the right way. I did not do it the right way. I did not do it a traditional way. Went head first, but I learned everything that I know now, which isn't everything, but everything that I know now, I've pretty much learned in the last 2 months. And it's just different from some of the peers that I'm in this group with. They're just taking their time to really understand it.
Uh-huh.
And so the win is now I can talk to them just because I went and did it. Um, Now I kind of have a little bit of knowledge ahead because I'm currently in the suck going through it and having to figure everything out.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. I mean, that's some people learn better that way, right? Like you don't have a choice. Like you will learn how to do this stuff. Um,
Oh yeah.
okay. So what is 1 year from now, right? Like what is your business? What does your life look like 5 years from now? Like what are you looking at doing over the long term?
Yeah. I man, big goals is I would love to have a business that's running to to pay for my living, my salary with the business. I'd love to scale it to where I'm pretty detached and absentee, maybe a couple phone calls to make big decisions, but I'd love to have a commercial team with a sales director, maybe a couple sales guys that are nurturing those and getting us into all the big hotels in the area. I'd love to have a residential side where we're just crushing it and just hand over fist getting those. That would be ideal. And then with the extra income that I don't want to get taxed on, maybe buy some real estate, some short-term rentals, some midterm rentals possibly, in locations that I want to eventually retire in and kind of use it as a retirement home, a means to get it. So have somebody else invest in it. And then over time, I'll own it in how X amount of years. But yeah, I'd love to have a business, get into some real estate, and my big audacious impossible goal. Which if you haven't realized already, I'm a little delusional going head first into this, but I'd love to have a jet to go to all those different locations. So I can't afford a jet. I come from not a ton of money, and so I need somebody else to pay for it. So I'd love to have a jet charter business. And a lot of people will roll their eyes and think I'm really crazy with that one, but people have done it. I listened to a
Yeah.
podcast and somebody said, I bought a business for no money. So then I started calling people and I bought a business for no money. Well, let's just, everything's a conversation in business, is what I'm learning. And so I'm just calling people and talking to them. And sometimes they just slam the phone in my face. A lot of brokers did that over my time of looking for an acquisition. Um, but then some people just talk to you, and being transparent really helped me. Um, it may not always be the case, but yeah, that's where I want to go. I want to fly around all my places and have a business where I'm pretty absentee.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you'll never get there if you don't try, right? I think that's where a lot of people are stuck. There's like, I can never do that. Instead of figuring out, right, like, you shouldn't ask, like, can I do something? It's like, how can I do this? Right.
Yeah.
And that seems to be like what you're good at. Like, that's the mindset that you have, right? So, like I say, it's not the if, it's the when, right? So like timelines shift, but as long as every day you're taking a step in the right direction, there's no reason why you can't get there. Um, okay. And then what about, you're talking to um other people looking at buying a business, right? Um, let's step back first. Actually, let's just talk business. Let's do that, right? Just like general, I want to start a business, buy a business, whatever it is. What are things that like people don't really think about or don't know that they should think about before they get into the business game?
Mm. I want to preface it with this is 100% just my opinion and from my experience, right? It
Yeah.
kind of goes without saying, but I don't know everything. I'm not going to claim to know everything because every day I'm trying to learn something. You're never going to know everything about the business when you do underwriting. Underwriting, you're not going to find everything. There's always going to be something that comes up. Um, Go into a business that you understand and you can just wrap your head around it. I was looking on Biz Buy Sell and there was women boutiques, there was nail salons, there's things like that. And while I kind of get the premise of it, like I don't really get it. I would have to hire somebody that really understands it to do our marketing, to do our ad campaigns and things like that. I just didn't fully wrap my head around it and was very not passionate about it. I kind of was like, I don't really want to do this. Carpet cleaning, I get it. Somebody needs their carpets cleaned. It's an easy business model. Like you said, it's a service industry. I was able to understand it and I was like, all right, in order to get more value, we got to market better. We have to go to bigger targets. I can't just go after I'm not going to get to seven figures by just doing residential because that's one client, one time. I need to go to somewhere where it's a lot bigger dollar value for our job. And that's either going to like a property management company that has several homes. So now I get one company, but I get 10 homes in it, not just one to one. Um, and so find something that you understand. Never stop learning. Never stop watching Alex Hormozy, especially in the beginning when you need to figure out marketing and ad campaign and hooks and how to do some sales.
Yeah. I got a plug for Alex Ramosi
Yeah.
is people don't realize if you go all the way back to the very beginning, he reads his whole books. You don't even have to buy his books. They're all on his
Yep.
podcast. Yeah.
Oh
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I've listened to all those. Yep.
Yeah. It was huge. I was just listening to it driving from Virginia Beach all the way down to Tallahassee. And I had so many ideas just from listening to the book. And I was
Yeah.
just writing it down in my notes. And I was like, all right, ChatGPT, now how are we going to do this? How are we going to implement it? Um, but, but yeah, never stop learning because you always got to learn something. And when things are hitting the fan, men always tend to close up. Um, it's not beneficial, especially in business, especially when you're new to business, because we just don't know. I don't know. And so if I close up and I just try to solve these problems and make a bunch of money on my own, and I just hermit in my house when I live alone, nobody's here to help me. Nobody's here to give me advice. You have to open up. You have to be vulnerable. You have to be transparent and tell people, yeah, I don't know exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to figure it out. Are you willing to give me a hand and tell me something and some advice? Are you willing to give me 5 minutes of your time where I can just pitch you on something? Um, and I went to realtors and I said, hey, this is my idea. This is what I'm pitching to do a deal scenario with some realtors. And one realtor sat on the phone with me for 15 minutes and he was like, dude, that's a terrible idea. It's not going to work. And then at the end of the call, he goes, also, I'm a Navy veteran. I was like, oh, that's why you sat on the phone so long with me. But I didn't know it up front. And I was just transparent and told him, I was like, hey, veteran owner, just got into this. I have an idea for a deal with realtors. Is it going to work? And at the end, he's like, no, it's stupid. I was like, cool, appreciate it. So I didn't go through with it.
That's so funny.
So,
So it's like staying humble, right? Like humble enough, hey, I don't know stuff. I'm gonna keep learning. I'm gonna ask people for help. Um, a lot of people are. I've been surprised how much if you just ask, people will say yes. It's kind of crazy. Um, yeah, very cool. Okay, and then now looking at like, again, only a couple months in, but you've seen the franchise, right? You've got the marketing, you've got someone to call. Um, what do you think about franchise? Do you think, now that you're in this, you're like, I should have just bought a independent carpet cleaning business, or are you kind of glad? Are you glad that you joined the franchise?
um, I'm glad I did right now. In the beginning, I have structure. I don't have to create my own brand in Phoenix. Like I would not be able to start my own thing from the money I had in Phoenix and be competitive. There's so many competitors out there. And I came in and already had Google listings that weren't at the bottom. They weren't at the top, but that's why we're doing different SEO to get it up there. But it was a good decision for me coming into it with no experience.
Mhm.
Knowing what I know now and having just a baseline knowledge now of somewhat of business, I think the next endeavor I go into is going to be without a franchise model because the ability to scale and really just make it your own and take off with it is a little bit limited in a franchise. However, it depends on the franchise. Some franchises are very hovering helicopter parents, and then some are very very detached. And so it depends on the franchise. And I can't say, if somebody's listening to this and they're like, oh, just because Chris Fallon said he wouldn't do it the next time, I'm not going to do it. It's like, no, don't. Like, go research the franchise, see what they control, see what they don't control, see if that's what you want to not have to worry about or to worry about, right? Because I have now been in this space, want to do all these crazy marketing stunts and ideas because I've learned about them and I'm like, man, this is going to work. But there's some aspects being in my franchise that it's kind of limited. Um, and maybe it's for the better, maybe it's not, because maybe they'd work, maybe they wouldn't. But definitely the next one, hopefully I have some capital where I can make those riskier decisions and see like, oh, we just got 10x on blank but blank email campaign because we had a crazy good hook or and I wasn't able to do that at the last one. So yeah,
Mhm.
long story short, I not looking to do it on the next one, but glad I did it in the beginning here, at least for now.
Yeah, yeah, and I think I'm probably of the same mind. I own a franchise now. I've had startups, and I don't think I never want to do something independent until I have like a lot of franchises that are going to pay me no matter what, right? And it's like, okay, go out and take some risks. And then just from a learning perspective, right? Like you got to learn all the things that you're learning now without having to worry about all aspects of the business because some of it's covered, right? And some of that was because
Mhm.
you bought a business, and some of that was because you bought into a franchise, right? So it's kind of
100%.
it's accelerated that learning growth. Um, Very cool. Yeah, but if you're a person who needs that total independence, like franchising is not for you. You're just gonna be unhappy the whole time for sure.
Yeah.
Um, cool, man. Okay. Any departing thoughts for people who are just again thinking about getting into business, or especially veterans, right? Or um thinking about business.
I think it goes by branch and job and just to who you are as a person. I think the military does give people a tremendous amount of skills to succeed in business. Um, there are some things that you have to detach from the military and the military mindset in order to succeed. The but there are things that you can hold on to very close hold to allow you to succeed. And so when I transferred over, my three employees were nervous. Who's this 27-year-old kid coming in to run a business with no experience? And I went to them and I said, "Hey, I come from the military where we weren't always treated the best, or you don't know how this is going to happen, and you can't do what you want." So I was sitting down at dinner with them, and I was like, "I'm always going to take care of you guys first. I take care of you guys first, so that you can take care of the customer first. I'm not going to come and tell them take care of the customer first because I feel like if I give them enough respect and transparency with how everything's moving forward and take care of them, then they're going to take care of the customers, and it'll just flow that way." Um, so think we have a good skill set and a lot of tools in the toolbox to succeed in business. But it does kind of have to be a part of you and your personality already. If you always had that itch in the military of like, man, I should be in charge, I should go and lead this. I know how to do this a little bit better. And as long as it's not like out of complete just cocky and arrogance, and you actually were like, this is a system, this is why it would work. Because I was always a why guy, and a lot of people hated me, and a lot of people did not like that I was always a why guy. But in my own selfish opinion, I was like, why are we doing it this way if we can do it more efficient that way? And why is this happening? And why are we at the armory at 04 when the armorers don't get there till 06 and the buses don't show up till 08? Like, why the hell is this happening? And so it kind of if that's just how you are naturally, I think you'd be great in business. And yeah, listen to a guy that has 2 months in business tell you if you're going to be good or not.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean, a lot of
yeah,
it, like you said, is just having the courage, and you have to have belief in yourself, right? Because at the end of the day, um, sales is like imparting the belief that you have about your product or service to somebody else. I believe it's going to work. I believe you're going to be really happy with the results, but you kind of believe it. Otherwise, I wouldn't even be talking to you. I've got to make you believe it. Um, and same thing with it's not just the customers, the employees, like you were talking about. If you weren't able to make them believe that you were going to be a good person to work for, they all would have left, right? Um, all aspects of this is sales. Um, and so even if they don't realize it or not, if they're a good leader and people are happy to follow them, they're probably going to be good at sales because they're already good at inspiring other people to believe what they believe.
yeah. I think what's the quote that I've kind of realized was a part of my life before I knew what it was, what the quote was, is be the most interested person in the room, not the most interesting person in the room. And so it applies to just every facet of life. Like I didn't know when I was at the embassy and I wanted to go and get those jobs that some of the diplomats had, I was asking them so many questions. I was the most interested without even knowing. And everybody wanted to talk to me. And I had a huge network that eventually allowed me to go and be successful almost at getting that job up until there was the existential circumstances. But now in business, I go and talk to other business owners and just ask them questions, and I've been able to grow a network of people. When I had zero people of business ownership that I knew in my circle, to now I have quite a few, and I'm in a networking group that there's just hundreds of them. Um, and so even in sales, when I'm going to try to sell carpet cleaning, it's a boring service. I mean, you come in, it doesn't really bring a ton of dollar like value to anything, but it makes it, an acceptable space. You got to get the cleaning done. Um, but I'm trying to turn the script on them and I'm asking them questions. I'm the most interested person. Like, why is this service good for you? What is something that you need from this service that you haven't gotten before? And what are the levers that I can pull as the owner to make you want to stay with us in our partnership? And so that being the most interested, not the most interesting, is just it goes with everything, any aspect of life, and really helps you with networking and getting connections.
Yeah, I really appreciate you being here, Chris. For those of you who are interested in owning a business, I work with hundreds of franchises, actually over 700 in the portfolio. I've whittled down to 70 based on a number of the thesis that I have, as well as hundreds of hours of doing research on them, what I think are the top brands. So if you want to see what's a good fit for you, I'd love to find that for you. If you don't want to talk to me, but you're looking at franchises, I have a free web app, app.tracerfranchising.com. It's everything that you would get from me, but you can just go do it for free on your own. Um, but if you do want to speak with me, ask any questions, you can go to my website, tracerfranchising.com, and scroll down, and there's a calendar right there to book with me. I'd love to answer any questions you have. So, Chris, again, thanks for being here. I feel like just that kind of peek into what grit and determination can get you is an inspiring story. I hope people got that from today.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. This is a cool platform to definitely hopefully get some more vets into business, because it's always great when I can reach out and talk to somebody and they say they're a vet and I'm like, I want to do business with you now.
Yeah, yeah, and there's
So
that whole, I think, the transparency thing, right? There's something to be said there. So cool.
definitely.
All right. Thanks, man.
Thank you.